Alright, what's up YouTube? What's up Raider Nation? I'm Bubba the Raider, coming at you today with my thoughts on the current situation at hand with Khalil Mack, maybe a few other things. So, I've been meaning to make a video about this for a while now, but I've been pretty busy. I'm on summer break, I'm a teacher, and I was fortunate enough to go to England for 2 weeks, which was really cool. And got back, and I've been just got back from camping yesterday and saw all this stuff going on. And then the report came out this morning amidst the today's the start of training camp, and amidst the start of training camp, saying that Khalil Mack will not be at training camp, and furthermore, the big news today is that John Gruden has never spoken to Khalil during his time as the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And everyone's kind of up in arms about it. I think. Oh, my hair. So I just want to give you my thoughts about that. The video that I've been meaning to make about the situation before the news today, planned on simply coming out and saying this. We have got 3 players on this team, in my opinion, that no matter what price, no matter what you need to do to get it done, you sign all 3 of those players. The rest are replaceable. Even if I love them. I love Amari Cooper, okay? I love him. I love Carl Joseph, probably one of my top favorite players on the team. And if I had made this channel before he got drafted, you guys would have known he was my favorite player in that draft, and he was the only player I wanted the Raiders to draft. But those guys are replaceable. There are 3 guys, in my opinion, who you have to have on this team. And fortunately, of those 3 guys, which is crazy to me because they were all drafted together, we've signed 2 of them. And the 3 guys are Derek Carr, Gabe Jackson, and Khalil Mack. I don't care what price it takes. I don't care what it takes. You have to sign him. And I know a lot of people are going to be freaking out, stressing about this Gruden thing, not talking to Khalil, and that is a little concerning. However, I'm not too worried about it because Gruden's kind of in a weird spot. And I'm not making excuses, and I don't know what the situation is, but if you stop and you really think about it, you look at the situation that John Gruden's in, you look at the situation that Khalil Mack is in currently, and then you look at how the media is going about business right now, and what time of year it is. Training camps are starting. I think next week you start getting preseason games. But these last few weeks, there's not anything to talk about. So when you look at, when you put away this idea that, Gruden is messing this up and he hasn't talked to Khalil Mack, and we're going to lose Khalil Mack and he's not going to play for the Raiders after this season, and whatever the case may be, and you panic, stop, back up, because you look at the media right now, Julio Jones is holding out, and things aren't going well, and he's not going to play for the Falcons, and Aaron Donald is not going to play a snap of football before he gets a contract, and he might not ever play another snap of football for the Rams. Everything is kind of panic mode right now, and that's the media's way of making things real juicy. I think it is a little bit concerning if John Gruden hasn't spoken to Khalil Mack. However, John Gruden just the other day said at his party that he's gonna make sure Khalil Mack is on board. He comes along and he plays even during this contract negotiation. You also look at the fact that John Gruden, because of the CBA and the restrictions put on when he can speak to his players, a large part of that time he's been hired, he hasn't been allowed to have contact with Khalil Mack. And then you look at the fact that he's got an entire team that he needs to. So he's got an entire coaching staff to hire and put together. He's got an entire team that he needs to assess. He needs to cut players. He needs to sign veteran players and free agents. Then he's got the draft. And then he's continuing to build and move pieces on this team. Now he's got to help put together playbooks and put together schemes. And, he's probably not a big part, any part really, of the contract negotiations right now. That's Reggie McKenzie's job. So I think it is a little concerning that he hasn't reached out, hasn't been like, oh dang, like this is a problem. However, I don't think it's necessarily indicative of the relationship between Khalil Mack and John Gruden, or John Gruden's thoughts of Khalil Mack, or whatever the case may be. I really think that John Gruden probably just has a lot on his plate right now, and he's probably focused on trusting his GM to do what his GM is supposed to do, and giving his time and attention to the players that are there. And that's not a knock on Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack deserves to be the highest paid defensive player in the league. But I also feel like at this point, if this is the narrative that's coming out and could fuel fire, I think John Gruden needs to take it upon himself to go and sit down with Khalil Mack, and hash things out if there are things to hash out, or sit down and just get to know the guy. Because I'll tell you right now, John Gruden's role as a football coach is a little bit different, but I'm a football coach. I'm not coaching presently, but I have coached and I will continue to coach. I'm also a teacher, and relationships are the number one thing. Sometimes I see a kid is having a bad day. I need to pull that kid out in the hall, sit down with that kid, and just be like, hey, what's going on? Everything okay? You doing all right? And John Gruden's in the same role. He needs to take it upon himself at this point, for the simple fact that he's got to be the leader of this team, the true leader of this team, and every player on that team is important, and he needs to sit down and make sure that there are no issues between he and Khalil Mack. Because that's, like I said, if I feel like a kid has an issue with me, I'm not going to just not talk to the kid about it. I'm not going to just let it brush over, you know what I mean? I'm going to address it, and I'm going to work through it with the student. And Khalil is a grown man, true, but he's part of John Gruden's team, and John Gruden needs to be that leader at this point if this is really an issue. So I'm not really concerning myself or freaking out over what the media is saying. You go on Bleacher Report and everyone's tweeting about this, and oh, it's the end of the world. I really don't think it is. I really think that John Gruden is probably just a really busy man, and he doesn't have any say in this situation, which is another matter entirely. I've been on the Reggie McKenzie fan list, bandwagon, whatever, almost the entire time Reggie McKenzie's been here. I've never thought we should fire him. However, I will say right now, if he messes this up with Khalil Mack, if he doesn't pay Khalil Mack what Khalil Mack deserves, and Khalil Mack ends up playing for the Broncos or the Chiefs or the Chargers or the Patriots or someone else, anyone else, that's it. He's done for me. You can't. That's the best. I'll venture to say Khalil Mack is the best football player in my lifetime, even though he's not my favorite. My favorite player of all time is Tim Brown. But I will say Khalil Mack is probably pound for pound the best football player I have ever seen play for the Raiders. Maybe ever seen ever. And so you have to give that guy money. You have to make sure that he is a Raider for life. He's got to be right there with Derek Carr. Like we took care of Derek Carr, we have to take care of Khalil Mack. The rest will work itself out. We can have holes that we address in the draft. We can have holes that, we already did. We brought in Arden Key. I love Bruce Irvin. At that point, Bruce Irvin has already been replaced. You keep Bruce Irvin under his contract. Let him learn from Arden Key. Let Arden Key learn from him. Let Arden Key learn from Khalil. Then you let Bruce go. Like that's the thing. A lot of these players, we have to start bringing in their replacements, and that's kind of where my focus is going to shift. I'm a big draft guy. I make these, I this year has been crazy busy, and I haven't made the videos that I thought I would be able to make this year because of teaching and whatnot. But I think, we're merging schools, and so I'm going to have a lot on my plate. However, I think I'm hopefully going to, I say this all the time, have more time. So my next video I'm going to make in the next day or two, I'm going to lay out some players that I'm really going to watch in college football that are going to be draft eligible next year. That kind of put them on the radar of positions and players that I would think that we would want to draft in a next draft in 2019. Because we are going to have some holes. We're going to have holes. We have a hole at middle linebacker. Derek Johnson still got some left in the tank. My dad is a big Chiefs fan and was pretty upset that we brought him in. Feels he still has some football to be played. Additionally, I'm of the mindset that once we get Khalil Mack signed, the next thing we need to do is we need to sign Navarro Bowman. And everyone's been saying this. However, I think Navarro should play outside so that our linebacker core would look to Tahir Whitehead outside, Derek Johnson inside, Navarro Bowman outside. It'd be an aging linebacker core, but it'd be an experienced one. Nicholas Morrow can work in there, and some other guys can work in there and learn from these guys, and maybe there's something that can grow from that. But at that point, you're looking at, Bruce Irvin, Khalil Mack, Maurice Hurst, Justin Ellis, P.J. Hall in your front seven. And then you'd have, Garen Conley, who hopefully is the real deal, and Rashawn Melvin, who hopefully is the real deal. And then I'm not sure who's going to start at free safety for us. In my opinion, I feel like Carl Joseph is being misused at strong safety and should be moved to free safety. And, hopefully Obi Melifonwu could work in there and kind of give you the Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor sort of a thing. Not saying that either of those players are that, but that's what I'd like to see. But I have a feeling we're going to mess around with Marcus Gilchrist and Reggie Nelson. I'm not a big Reggie Nelson fan, and I don't know how I feel about Marcus Gilchrist. So, that's a much improved defense. But also, holes we're going to have to address. Middle linebacker, corner, because of the fact that Rashawn Melvin is on a 1-year prove-it deal. And basically, that's going to work. Odds are that's going to work one of two ways. Either Rashawn Melvin is going to come out and have a really bad year, and we're not going to re-sign him, or he's going to come out and have a killer year and use this as a stepping stone to go get more money elsewhere. So I have a feeling we're going to be replacing Rashawn Melvin next year, no matter what happens. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he comes out, kills it, and wants to play with us. So I think our defense is much improved. We're going to have to address the running back position. I really feel next year. There's a couple guys that can't think of his name. David Montgomery, I think, is his name, from Iowa. I've been watching a little bit, and he looks special. Go check his stuff out. Bryce Love is coming out. There's guys coming out next year. So those are kind of the big ones I think we're going to have to address. I think it's, we address the tackle position. Again, you can let Donald Penn go at some point. Tight end, I think, is one that we'll have to address. Running back. Maybe wide receiver. Jordy's going to go. And another thing I want to talk about real quick, I'm kind of all over the place with this video, but Jordy Nelson, and the reason I feel we brought him in is for Amari. I feel like Jordy Nelson is what Amari Cooper could be and should be. He's not the biggest guy, although Jordy's bigger than Amari, but he's not the biggest guy, and he's not the fastest guy. He's a solid guy, and Amari's the same way. Amari's not a 4.2 speedster, and he's not built like Julio Jones. He's kind of in between both, Not saying that he's slow. He's a 4.4 guy, which is fast. But, you know, see, even as I'm sitting here doing this, I'm getting notifications on my phone that pop up about Odell Beckham Jr. and all. It's all drama, drama, drama. Don't read into any of that. Khalil will be a Raider. Let's just have faith that it's going to get done. But anyway, Jordy Nelson is going to be the one that teaches Amari how to be what he needs to be. But also at the same time, Jordy Nelson is like 33 years old. We're going to have to replace him. We have Martavis Bryant. We have Ryan Switzer. I heard we're bringing in Eli Rogers for a workout. Whatever. But I really, truly believe that this is the deepest wide receiver core we've had since, and maybe even including Tim Brown and Jerry Rice and Jerry Porter and all those guys when I was a kid. But wide receiver is one. So running back, wide receiver, maybe tight end. We'll have to address. We'll have to address middle linebacker, maybe outside linebacker, and corner for sure in the upcoming drafts. Those will be holes that we have. So that's just a little preview, and I'll give you some specific names and things that I'll be looking for this year. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Khalil Mack situation. Let me know what you think about everything going on. What you think about Gruden. I have faith in Gruden. I really do. I think he knows what he's doing, and I think he's taking a lot of flack. And Colin Cowherd's doing his thing about putting, the Raiders on the number one dumpster fire team this year. And I just, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think that how quickly people forget, and I understand that we were bad for a long time, but you act like last year was closer to what we were and forget like the fact that we went 12-4 the year before. This division is open for grabs. Phillip Rivers is aging. Case Keenum won 13 games last year with the Minnesota Vikings, which I could probably go play quarterback for and win 13 games because that team is set. They draft better than any team in the NFL and have for years. And, Pat Mahomes, I've been talking about him with my dad. I do like Pat Mahomes, and he does scare me a little bit, but he's pretty much a rookie. And so why wouldn't this be the year that we can make stuff work, that we can make things happen, that we have such a large veteran presence on our team, and we have a lot of talent on this team, regardless of what people say. We have one of the best offensive lines in the league. And I feel like we got stronger with the draft. So, I don't know. Colin Cowherd's saying that we're going to be a dumpster fire and John Gruden's not going to do anything. And we'll see. I feel really good about this team this year. But I did feel really good about the team last year. So, anyway, let me know what you think about everything. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe if you like what you see here. If you don't, go ahead and dislike it. Leave a like if you did like it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. If you agree with me, if you disagree. Just win, baby.